Bruce Springsteen Live provides fans with an intimate look into Springsteen's creative process. The Bruce Springsteen Live exhibit opens at the Woody Guthrie Center on Saturday, April 16th, running through Sunday, September 25th. The exhibit will feature iconic artifacts, live performance footage, instruments, stage costumes, exclusive interviews, concert posters, and photography, as well as unique interactive displays to immerse fans in Bruce Springsteen and the band's creative process. More information can be found at woodyguthrieCenter.org. Please let them know that Set Listing Bruce sent you there, and I'll see you in Tulsa.
In my opinion, I feel like scientists and doctors treat autism like it's some kind of disease, like we have a bunch of lab rats that we gotta clean this disease up, and it's not a disease. It's a different way of life. It's a unique perspective of life.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to a new episode of Set Listing Bruce, your podcast all about Bruce Springsteen, his music, and mostly his fans. I am your host, Jesse Jackson, but we're getting off the Bruce train a little bit today. I'm talking to a fellow podcaster, Crazy Fitness Guy. So this is going to be an interesting discussion. Jimmy, welcome to the show. How you doing?
Good. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, tell us a little about yourself.
So I'm a motivational speaker, Autism Advocate, author, and founder of crazyfitnessguy.com.
When you said author, what have you written?
I've co-authored this book that is not out yet. It's
Okay.
all I know right now, the details, in all honesty, is literally a resource book for people on the autism spectrum, like
Okay.
for parents or people or just young adults with autism.
Mm-hmm.
So it's me and I think 5 or 8 other different authors.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not the person who set this whole thing up, so I'm
Okay.
literally kind of like, that's all I know,
Okay.
all in honesty.
And so you mentioned you're going to school. Where do you go to school?
I go to school at my community college in Pennsylvania.
Good.
I'm not going to name the name because I've said some stuff
Okay. No problem.
sort of around my school. I mean, not in a bad way, but
Okay.
I don't want to get sued.
I understand. What do you want to be when you grow up?
To be honest, I want to be, well, to be honest, that's what I'm doing. I'm a motivational speaker.
Okay.
I already have I've been up and running Crazy Fitness Guy for almost 5 years, which feels like a lifetime.
Yeah. So tell me about, I'm going to get into music in a little bit, but tell me about Crazy Fitness Guy. Talk about what this is. It is, I saw you have an app. I see you have a podcast. Talk to me a little bit about this.
So Crazy Fitness Guy, it's just it's a health and wellness website that is geared towards people on the spectrum and off the spectrum. So it could be for parents of those who are on the spectrum, or just anybody who wants to jumpstart their healthy living journey. I am not a trained personal trainer. I'm just sharing my fitness perspective through my autistic eyes. I'm not in any way by an expert whatsoever. I'm just throwing that out there because, I'm wrong about stuff at times, and I admit when I'm wrong. I never said I was an expert in anything.
Yeah.
I might be an expert at doing motivation stuff because I know what motivates me, but I wouldn't know necessarily what motivates you because everyone motivates differently.
Absolutely. So I take it you're on the spectrum?
Yep. I'm I like to use the word slightly autistic because I'm
Okay.
not like full blown. Where they diagnosed me on the spectrum, they put me on like it's like very slightly, and so that's and it's like really, I'm surprised I even made the spectrum,
Mm,
but I forget what they kind of diagnosed me as. Like I think it's
okay.
like PDD NOS or something along those lines,
Okay.
and yeah, it was like. I was like, wow, I can't believe they put that on there. I was like, gee, it's like anything seems to go these days.
Did what do you think is the most misunderstood thing that the general public has about autism?
Well, in my opinion, I feel like scientists and doctors treat autism like it's some kind of disease. Like we have a bunch of lab rats that we gotta clean this disease up, and it's not a disease. It's a different way of life. It's just another. It's a unique perspective of life. Like
Okay.
for instance, I give you an example.
Please.
One um, my example would be for me, I notice all the very small little details in every little thing. Like, for instance, when I watch a show, I can memorize lines and TV shows, uh, and even if I and I and even when I rewatch it over and over and over and over again, I can memorize that stuff. But I can also but find the little details. For another example, like I know one of my logos in one of my things I made on social media was bigger than the other things,
Mm-hmm.
and my parents didn't knows the difference, but I was like, but I do, and
Okay.
and now that I know something, it's gonna bug me. It's like think about it this way: if somebody doesn't like holes in their jeans, and they start getting a hole, they will start picking at it until it's a bigger hole, and it's like it's time to get rid of these jeans.
Okay.
And
That's
I'm one of those people who, like, once I see something and it's not the way I want it, I had to get rid of it because it's disgusting for me.
okay. Interesting. So um let's talk about music and then we'll go back to your website and everything. But uh where did you grow up from? Where is home?
Well, the funny thing is, I grew up in New Jersey,
Okay.
and then I moved to Pennsylvania in 2001 or 2002,
Okay.
and then it's funny. Right now, I'm back in New Jersey temporarily because my new house in Pennsylvania is getting worked on.
Okay.
So I'm like, okay, I moved from Pennsylvania. If I moved from New Jersey to Pennsylvania, back to New Jersey, please get me out of this hellhole. I don't need to go backwards.
Oh no. Um, was it growing up, was it a musical house? Did your parents listen to a lot of music?
Oh yeah, we listened to so much music. I remember having. This is gonna like date me a little bit, but we had tape cassettes and everything, and and I remember listening to like all different kinds of music. Back then it was Backstreet Boys, NSYNC.
Hmm.
I think I had Will Smith's first like rap album.
Okay.
Uh, yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say I'm a big fan of rap, but I
Hmm.
wouldn't even call his stuff back then like necessarily rap because it was kind of like the pleasant kind of rap before I got into all this violent
Okay.
crap.
Do does you talked about one of your traits of your autism, and I hope I'm saying that right, is your attention to details. Does that same thing apply to music? When you listen to music, do you pick up a lot of details, like either the lyrics or the tone or the tune?
uh, I, I like I think what stands out for me in music is just the beat of the music. For me, I like rock and roll, I might maybe say I like maybe 3 or 4 different rap musics,
Okay.
but the lyrics are like motivational or more like catchy, but I wouldn't say that. But like I even looked at the lyrics, there was nothing like, oh, I mean, some of them had swear words in it, but they weren't like something about violence or
Okay.
whatnot. And I'm just not one of those people who can listen to really angry kind of music because like I'm trying to be entertained here, not to like,
Sure.
gee, I'm already becoming angry of something else. I don't need to be angry
Yeah.
listening to music.
Um, if you could, who are your favorite artists?
uh, oh, that's well, my favorite artist would be AC/DC. I saw them twice in concert.
Okay.
Uh, they never disappoint. I've seen Bruce Springsteen in concert. Uh, I've seen Bon Jovi.
Yeah.
I so many people. I've even seen Creedence Clearwater Revival.
Oh, nice.
Uh, I saw. I think I've seen them like 8 times because my dad's such a favorite.
Your dad loves CCR?
Yeah.
Oh, very nice. That's good. Um, yeah, and growing up in Jersey, right? It's kind of one of those things Bruce is just in the water there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
Um, when you what you mentioned you really love motivation, like, you know, lyrics and songs that uplift you, that kind of help you think on a positive vein. Um, do you is it is that just partly because it feeds your nature, your personality as someone that's very positive?
well, I go back and forth. Sometimes I'm being my day could start off being positive, but
Yeah,
then I might get stuck on one issue that can just like put my day into a sour mood. Not always, but sometimes I can't help it. I'm human,
sure, we all are.
and but I think just music kind of just cheers me up. Like, for instance, one of my favorite songs from AC/DC is "Are You Ready,"
Mhm.
and I just love it how it just goes, and it starts as like just Angus Young with the guitar, and then all of a sudden the chorus comes in, and it's like, "Are you ready?" And then just the lyrics comes in, and then Brian Johnson, you hear his voice just coming in afterwards, and I'm like, it's just such a perfect thing. It's like if I could ever, uh, and like once I could ever go touring on the stage, and I would love to be able to borrow just like 5 seconds of that song or 10 seconds of the song, just the intro, just the little intro beginning of that song, because like it would pump up the crowd.
Yeah. Um, when did you first hear ACDC, and what about it spoke to you, Jimmy?
Well, I think I heard AC/DC when I was in Pennsylvania. And I think my brother turned me on to AC/DC. I mean, I really should rephrase that word. My brother introduced me to AC/DC uh, uh, when we were in Pennsylvania. And I think he just saw some person wearing a shirt in school, and then he just started listening to it, and it was just the lyrics were catchy, the chords were catchy. I liked the just the rhythm of the guitar, the solos, and seeing them in concert. I, I was I remember my seeing them in concert was awesome. Like
Hmm.
my the it was on their Black Ice tour that I saw them, and
Yeah.
my dad got uh, when he was working for his company, uh, we got his. It was in this sports area where there's box seats, and
Yeah.
so we got our own little box section full of food and everything, and and I felt bad for the intro band because it looked like no one was really paying attention to them, and the music was kind of like down low, and all of a
Yeah.
sudden this video of it was coming, AC/DC was coming because the lights dimmed, and then this huge video came on screen of a train, and then the train just crashed on stage, and they
Mm-hmm.
started playing Rock and Roll Train, and I think they only played like one or two new songs on their album, like in total, and then the rest of it was just hit after hit after hit. I think I think we got out of there like at 12 o'clock, and it was on a school night.
Yeah.
And like some of my friends like, your parents seem very irresponsible. And it's like, you don't pass up tickets to Miss ACDC. And
That
they could
see,
retire the next day.
I think that is great parenting to go. How old were you?
Uh, I think I was in high school, so I would have to say maybe 15-ish, 16.
Okay.
Feels like a
Uh,
lifetime ago too.
yeah, well, yeah, that's awesome. Did what do you yeah, have you continued to be a fan of the band and just love their music?
Of course, like I have Spotify on my computers, and during the day listen to them. I have a playlist of them. Uh, I, I have to say I'm one of those people who like particular songs that I like more than just all the albums. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not that I hate all their other songs. It's just like, I just find it more catchier than the other ones. And it was like, yeah, I can rock out to this one. And then these other ones
Hmm.
like, the, I feel like that my like the solo is kind of too long. It's like, okay, they're just dragging this out.
Do you like it? Keep moving.
Yeah, I mean, like some of it is like, okay, in a concert setting, you can drag it out a little bit, but because you want to entertain the crowd, but on an album, really, it doesn't need to be like 20 minutes long.
Keep it moving, right?
Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly.
Yes, absolutely. That's interesting. So I want to go back to um, what what made you want to create this blog and this podcast about fitness? What you obviously look very fit on your we're talking via Zoom, but what kind of what motivated you to do this?
Well, what motivated me was, well, because I just felt like uh, I felt like people needed to learn more about the autism spectrum, and I got tired of the Hollywood, just some people in Hollywood saying, "Oh, we need to cure this disease,"
Hmm.
and I don't know if you're familiar with this organization called Autism Speaks, and they're like the most hated organization in the uh, autism community because for a long ass time they wanted to uh, they want to cure autism, and they had funding after funding after funding and donations to cure the disease. And fast forward to now, people are starting to ask them, and people ask them, where did all my money go?
Hmm.
Because they still don't have a cure. People don't want to be cured because we're not lab rats, like I said.
Yeah.
And and so and it was in their mission statement, not because that they failed at delivering that and any other stuff.
Hmm.
They want other organizations are popping up and saying Autism Speaks is no longer a well-known source. And it's like it's it, put in these words, they're kind of like what happened at Comcast And it's like they used to be known as, oh, we're the resource to go to. But then they screwed up completely with customer
Hmm.
service. Then they rebranded to Xfinity, sort of, and so uh, I mean, Autism Speaks still is the same company's name, but it is like first they were well known and well liked,
Hmm.
well as far as I know back then. But
Okay.
now in the modern day and age, no one likes them anymore because their mission statement was just so brutal. It's like, really, you're gonna try to change somebody's DNA even though the technology doesn't exist? Come on.
Yeah. So what do you, when you're working with, your clients or, your listeners, what what do you think is the biggest obstacle in people trying to get fit, trying to do, to try to get a little better, more activity in their life?
I, I think the biggest obstacle is people don't know exactly how to start, where to start, or how to get motivated to do so. Because, like, I could go on Google and it's like, how do I get motivated to work out? Everyone's way is different,
Hmm.
but they might only cover that article one time, but
Yeah.
and they think that it's like, okay, one size fits all. Where I might say, okay, here's from an autistic point of view, but then I might say like, okay, and then maybe later down the road, I might make another one that says, uh, uh, here's what my routine is and show people, here's what I do to get motivated to work out.
Yeah.
There's days where I don't feel like going to karate and I go to karate and it's like, well, I feel better now I'm going. And it's like, I feel like crap if I don't.
Okay. Yeah. Um, is there, Jimmy, do you think there are specific obstacles that people who are on the spectrum face for that you're addressing, or is it similar to everyone? Because everyone struggles to exercise, I think. So is there specific challenges that you see in the autistic community?
Well, what what I know from seeing some of my friends during the pandemic,
Yeah.
everybody is like relying on gyms and whatnot, and I I feel like some people. I feel like the misconception is like everybody, like people's like, I need to go to a gym to work out.
Yeah.
No, you don't. I literally worked out in my parents' bedroom this morning with
Hmm.
only bands. I mean
Yeah.
the fitness bands, and my legs felt like rubber after the end of it. It was leg
Okay.
day. So
Very nice. Yeah. Good. So, what's next for the website and well, let's talk a little bit more about you, your motivational speaker. Where do you speak at, and where do you have a regular gigs that you do? Talk to me a little bit about that.
well, at the moment, I'm actually well, just this past I mean, in January, Crazy Fitness Guy got put on the list for 101, the best 101 startup fitness companies in Pennsylvania.
Oh, congratulations. That's great.
Yeah, I was like, is this company legit? I never even heard of them. And then I was
Hmm.
like, well, they apparently they heard of me.
Yeah.
Uh, and I mean, that's like, and Pennsylvania is not small.
No, no, not at all.
And like, it looks small on the map, but
Hmm. Yeah.
uh, I mean, because everything has to fit on the map. But I mean,
Yeah.
but like driving through farm towns, my good lord.
Yeah.
But but uh, one thing that what I've been doing for Crazy Fitness Guy, hopefully again I'm gonna start speaking at different gigs on in person and online. I've been doing a lot of podcast interviews. Today is actually tonight is the 113th one that I've been on in total.
Hmm.
Uh, I've been featured in New York City Times Square, uh, and my goal is to travel around the world, speak on stage after stage after stage after stage.
Right.
Uh, and my podcast, I literally just cover uh, a lot of different health and wellness tips and tricks that I've learned and picked up across the way, and
Mm-hmm.
how to get uh, fit, and that's what I've been doing. Oh, and yeah, and like you said, I also have a mobile app that it's a web app that you can download on your phone. It's compatible on any devices. I used to have an Android app, but let's just say the developer was um, kind of a jerk to work with,
Oh
and
no. Okay.
I'm not going to go into that story because
No, no, no.
that's a
Okay.
long ass story.
Yeah, okay.
Uh, but
So
yeah,
you're planning just to continue being an advocate. You're going to school full time, I take it?
part time,
Part time? Okay.
because I find being autistic, at least in my case, I get burnt out by a lot of information thrown at me. I need to
Mm-hmm.
break up in chunks. So taking one or two classes at a time seems to
Okay.
be more beneficial for me than trying to say, "Hey, let's try three."
Okay.
Crap, I don't know which homework to work on first, and then
Yeah.
sometimes uh, the instructions sometimes the teachers give me it's not clear to me, and it's like, okay, I'm really confused and the deadline's coming up. Now I'm overwhelmed. And
Yeah. I understand. So is there anything you want to plug, Jimmy? Anything you want to share with my audience?
uh well, if you want to learn more about Crazy Fitness Guy, just go to crazyfitnessguy.com. The app is free. Uh all the content on the website is free, though I do have a premium podcast. So if you want to subscribe, support me, uh check out the premium podcast. Yeah. Yeah, it's what you get with the premium podcast is just ad-free content, um, early access to episodes before it's published everywhere else, and
Okay.
uh, yeah, it's only $20 a year or $60 a year if you pay monthly. So,
All right. Well, very nice. Well, I had given you homework, so I don't know. Did you listen to Thunder Road?
yes, I have.
All right. So, if you are a fan of Jimmy's and you're listening to my podcast, I end every podcast with the Mary question. So, the Jay Armstrong, who is uh, a retired English teacher, recently published his first book, Bedtime Stories for the Living, uh, would teach his honors English class. They would cover Thunder Road. They would look at all the lyrics. He would talk about the themes of the song. And then at the end of the 2 days, he would ask the question, does Mary get in the car? Jimmy, that is your question. Does Mary get in the car?
Uh, Crap, now I forget.
That's an acceptable answer.
I forget because I looked at it of like a week or two ago.
Okay.
And my brain got literally overwhelmed with everything else.
I totally understand. That is no problem. Jimmy, this was great. I really appreciate it. You're a crazy fitness guy. From there, you can find all your social medias. Continued success, my friend. I wish you the very best of luck. And please, please stay safe. This is a crazy time. You listeners, go get vaccinated. Go get your booster. Remember to be kind to each other because that's how we're going to get through this. Thank you, Jimmy. Thank you,
Thank you.
listeners. We'll talk to you soon. Goodbye. Doing a podcast at times can be a one-way conversation, and I hate that. So please let me know what you like and don't like about the work I'm doing. You can reach the podcast via email at setlustingbruce@gmail.com. The show is on Twitter at setlustingbruce, and my personal Twitter is at Jesse Jackson DFW. We have a website, www.setlessingbruce.com. From there, you can find links to other Springsteen podcasts as well as other music themed podcasts. We have a page devoted to our own SLB All Star Band. These are guests who have been on the podcast more than 3 times. There is a link to our store where you can purchase Set Listing Bruce shirts as well as a Mary Question t shirt. There is a link to our Patreon page where you can sign up to help support the podcast financially. We have different levels and different rewards based on your support. If you don't have any extra cash, and right now, who does? You can support the podcast by subscribing via your favorite podcast player and leaving us a review. The more reviews we have, the easier it is for people to find us. And please tell a friend about the podcast, especially if they love Bruce or music, because it will make a difference. You just heard the fun talking, hard rocking, music loving, album ranking, fan thinking, joy spreading, lyric reading, story sharing podcast that is the one, the only, Set Listing Bruce. The theme for Set Listing Bruce was written by David Rosen, used by permission.